managers. I wanted to provide you with a couple updates and announcements this past week. I'm sitting in this very authoritative tiny chair. This past week we had a really good meeting with Stephanie, James, Scott, and we determined some awesome things moving forward, and I was able to give them a little bit of one-on-one coaching. So I wanted to provide this for all of you and a bit of a recap of that meeting. So moving forward, titled managers such as Stephanie, James, and Scott, we're going to create a bit of a separation between me and the floor managers in that they're acting as a supervisor now. So during a shift, any kind of coaching that they provide, any examples, any management, basically anything that they bring to your attention should be treated as though it came out of my mouth as your director. You all know the schedule is coming out 1 month in advance, so a reminder to make sure your requests are in soon. We have the new menus out. If you have any questions about that, see the new menu packet that's in the hallway. It's full of lots of detail. We are going to roll out a separate video with a new whiteboard system, but what you do need to know is that shift notes and counts will be shifting. So shift notes need to be done at 9:45 a.m. and then the counts put in at 10:45 a.m. and then for PM, shift notes and counts happen at 4:15 p.m. We want to avoid printing shift notes for the PM shift as much as possible. Quick note on shift notes, the chef's board is to never be printed on that. Also, if there's a short count on something, it's better to just give it to one server. So for example, if there's only 8 orders of gnocchi, just give Jake the 8 orders to sell and verbal to his section and 86 it for the rest of the team. This helps avoid complications during service. Also, if you're going to put something on the shift notes, make sure that you have probable cause to put it on there. For example, if we only have 4 orders of a special, don't put it on the shift notes because it will sell out very quickly. Make sure that we have a good count or supply of something before we put it on the shift notes. Also, the shift notes is a great place to put things that are 86 that we know we will be out of. Calbee, we don't take a temperature on this. We tell the guest it's medium rare. If they request a temperature, the server needs to put it in the point of sale system with a temperature modifier. The burger will never be cut into more than 4ths, and the pizza will never be cut into more than 6ths. Don't eat off the kitchen stations. Their prep stations, if they have chips sitting out, things that they've prepared or are in the process of preparing, don't go by and just pick on that. Treat that with a lot of respect. That's their station, that's their stuff they're trying to get prepped so that we can have a good service out there. On that same note, don't cut the pass. So that's the little area between the expo and Garde-Manger pantry station, going from the dining room as a shortcut to the manager's office. Don't do it. It's just an area where accidents can happen. So when you're fixing problems, as a manager, you decide how to fix it. Be decisive, be assertive, and don't leave it to the guest or the expo to determine how to fix it. So the guest often, when they say, no, it's really fine, it's really fine. It's not fine. If they took the time to bring it to your attention, it means there's something wrong, and it's your job to remedy it in any way possible before the guest leaves the restaurant. When it comes to food that's been, misfired or the guest isn't happy, don't go to the expo and wait for them to decide to tell you how to fix it. As a manager, determine that you need to ring in another chicken or another burger, go to the point of sale, ring it in, fire it on the fly, and send it in. The expo will make it, and you never need to talk to the expo. So if somebody ordered a burger medium, it was ringing as medium, it comes to the table, they say it's too well done, go to the point of sale, ring in a new burger on the fly, label it as medium, and put a modifier that previous burger was rang in medium, cooked too much for guest liking. Then the expo will make the judgment call on how to adjust the cooking of that. You don't need to go to the expo for anything like that unless there's a situation where a fish or a chicken is raw in the middle. Quickly approach the expo, show them after you've already rang in a refire, and then take the food away. So no food should ever be left at the expo line, and don't come and stand at the expo in front of a plate just waiting for them to look at it for a minute. All they need to know is the mistake that they made, how to fix it, moving on. On that same vein, just no sob stories or long explanations at the expo line. The more you interrupt them, the longer it's going to take for them to get their food out. So just quickly, here's the situation, here's how I need it fixed. I've already ringing the ticket for you, chef. Moving on. Don't take plates before the expo has sold them. So the expo is in charge of telling you when to take plates. If you're going to take plates, you always need to ask, may I sell? And you can be even more clear by saying, may I sell 52? Then the expo's queued up, they look, is 52 up? Yes, ready, you may sell. Just because you think that food is for table 52, it might not be. And the expo's running their system. So appreciate and respect their authority at the line and wait for them to tell you when to take plates. Don't be overbearing and don't step in front of them to check on any tickets. Ask them if you can survey the rail. Also, if you need to see how long the ticket is taking, you can just say, may I have an ETA on 52? So again, going back to keeping the communication nice and short. Towards the end of all of your shifts, you need to make sure you're communicating with the expo and letting them know when tables are getting up, when the dining room is slowing down, when the lounge is slowing down, how many tables you have left, where they're at in the status of their meal, so that they can appropriately coach their team on breaking down, they can make cuts, and they can take care of some of their closing side work and duties while no tickets are forgotten. So be sure to communicate constantly and clearly with them. Also, as you take tickets from the line, the entire ticket sells at the same time. So this is important for expediters and kitchen staff and runners and managers all to remember that the whole ticket sells at the same time. We do not sell portions of a ticket and then wait 5+ minutes for a steak to hit the same table. It's not good service, so we need to avoid that. We're going to work on a few new systems for some prep packets that are going to make coming into your shift a little easier. We're also in the process of standardizing dishes and servingware. So there's a folder at the expo line that shows the exact servingware piece that each dish is to be served on and how it's to be plated. And if it's not done so, then it's just a simple need a replate on that. And as expediters, it's your responsibility to make sure that the staff around you is adhering to that. The reason we need to adhere is because that's how we will adjust our ordering accordingly. So if you're always just grabbing whatever plate you can find, I'll never know what we need to order more of. So you need to be using the correct things and then communicating to me what plates or servingware we need to order more of to accommodate our volume. Okay, so then when it comes to chipped flatware, there's only one brand that we get credit from. That's the Churchill brand. Everything else can just go in the trash when it gets chipped. We do need to save the Churchill. And as a front of house manager, it's your responsibility to manage people in being thoughtful and careful with the dishware. So with the, it's productivity and it's profitability. So the more breakage we're having, the more our profits and revenue is going to go down. The more we have things that are broken and we can't find them to get them onto the floor, the more productivity and service goes down. So it's not just something I'm reminding you of, it is a part of your job to ensure that you're coaching the team on how to be careful with all of our servingware and how to treat things with respect and how to put them back in the place where they need to be found. So as we move into, better accountability for the dish station, this kind of bleeds over into stalker and busser territory. You need to be reminding them to always be bringing things all the way out constantly, full hands back out to the floor and restocking things where they go so that when we're in a pinch, we grab something quickly. It is not good service when somebody asks for ketchup and you can't find a ramekin because they're all in a bin back at the dish pit and they weren't restocked. Employee food needs to always be in the employee food area, and employee drinks need to be there as well. No employee food or drinks at the host stand, and no employee food or drinks at the runner station. I'm going to be holding managers accountable for this because it's your job to be holding the runners and the hosts and the bussers and the rest of the staff accountable for this. So if I see it at the runner station, I'm not going to say something to the runner. I'm going to come to the manager and say something to you because that's something you need to have eyes on during your shift. Our ice bar is going up, so we're gonna make some adjustments for that, and hopefully get some better things in place with ice in general. If we are low on something, I need to know, because scarcities in this restaurant lead to inefficiencies and, like I mentioned, bad service. So if we're running low on something, if we're constantly out of something, if we can't find something, I need to know about that so I can fix that problem and make sure we have enough of everything into play all the time. So be proactive about order requests, about emailing me about things we're low on, and be proactive about maintenance requests if something needs to be fixed. Follow the maintenance protocol of marking what needs to be fixed, taking a photo of it, posting it on maintenance channel, and then putting it in the appropriate area by the shop so that it can be taken care of. So we have the new retail section. Everybody just please take a look at that. It's tightened up a little bit. Make sure you know where everything is. And again, if we're low on something, make sure that you let me know so that we can replenish that. The MODs, we've now shifted into that hard close, and that closing checklist is not a joke. It has to be followed to the T. It's really important for the well-being of the entire business. That closing shift is very important. And PM Expos, it is important and mandatory that you check out with the PM manager so that they know when you're leaving and that they can walk the kitchen with you and actually check you out before you leave. And it needs to be communicated to the dishwashers constantly that they do need to check out with the PM Expo. And that does not mean that they say that they're leaving. It means that they come and they get them and they do a walkthrough. And if the front of house manager says, this isn't done yet, we need to finish it up before you go, they need to finish it up before they go. So as a team, it's important that all of us as managers are really coaching and leading them on that so we have a better dishwashing team. All right. We're going to release an annual calendar of education dates. That's coming out soon. We're going to be training every manager on chef's table. You all need to know how to expedite that and what the proper setup is. When we're making guests happy, it's really at any cost. Whatever you need to comp, whatever you need to do, whatever like links and miles you need to take, you have to make that guest happy before they leave. Just because they thought something was sort of fine, it's okay, but they ate half of it, it's not good enough. That's coming off the bill and you're finding something to make them happy. So follow the golden rule. If like, what would you want to have done to you if you came to a restaurant to feed yourself and leave full and you only ate half of something? Then you're not leaving full. So make sure that they get satisfied with what they came here for. We are hiring for a host manager, and we're also hiring for a front of house expediting position. If there's any candidates that you know of that you think would be a good fit for either of those positions, please let me know. Couple more general things I want to finish up on is that over the next couple weeks and months, we're going to be focusing a lot on our faster pace, urgency, quickness, because we're going to be cranking out a lot of volume. We already are, and everybody needs to be working faster, walking faster. So as a manager, you really can lead the charge in that and set the pace for the night. Even as you walk through the hallway, you can be like, all right, team, let's go. Let's get back out there. Let's see you moving quicker. Let's bust that table faster. Let's get this out faster. Let's go check the dish station. All of those things are all going to add up in incremental seconds. That's going to lead to more volume, more happy guests, and more money for the company. And then the last thing I want to touch on is that we are operating a professional atmosphere here. There's no room for gossip, especially about employees or employees' lives. If at any point you hear anybody gossiping about another employee's life, or you hear any comments that could be perceived as harassment, whether it's sexual harassment, racial harassment, discrimination, there's no tolerance for that. So treat people with respect and dignity when you cut them off from that. Let them know this is a professional atmosphere. There's not room for that here. That was a lot. There's going to be a follow-up quiz to this, so all of you will just make sure you're on the same page with me on all of these things. And if you have any questions, I've got a list. You can come see me and we can go through them further. Thanks for all your hard work this last week. I'll talk to you later.